Welcome to another episode of Cop Stories. First of all, thank you all for the love and support. I really appreciate it. This channel don't have millions of views or subscribers or whatever, but the right people are watching. Networks that deal with true crime stories are watching. They calling me, did another audition. Look, I think I've had maybe 3 auditions. Sooner or later, one of them is gonna, come to life where I'm just not featured in an episode. But at some point, I'm quite sure I will land on a series, whether it's a criminal expert or homicide expert. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. Come on, Joe Kinder is rocking and rolling. Let's get Mitch Credle with that joint. Real talk, though. But look, also, I'm going to give you information on my books. Damage Roots, Stranger in the Streets are still on Amazon, Lulu, and Barnes & Noble. They're online. My first films that I made back in 2015 and 2016, they still rocking and rolling on Amazon Prime and Tubi TV. Also, detective stories on there. Look, I'm just getting started in the game, but I'm going to keep on rocking and rolling. And what I normally do is, and what I'm going to continue to do is, I'm going to continue to inspire others. Please do not get discouraged in the things you're trying to do. You are your boss. Follow your destination. Follow your plans. Be successful. Do not ever, ever give up. That's why I'm always promoting no quit zone. Keep rocking. All that good stuff. The Antoine Jones project I participated in is being edited right now. It's being shopped to the different networks so they can check out the sizzle reel. Oh, y'all saw asleep. Okay. In pre-production with my guy Steve Francis to help him get his program. To help him get his story, his film out there. So look, I've been very busy. I'm going to stay busy. But look, right now, another episode of Cop Stories. This is episode 19. SafeHouseFilmsDC.com. Much love. Bingo. Action. Did I do that right? Hold on. Action. Cut. As a homicide detective, you are as strong as your word. And in the community, if your word is not strong, if your word is not your bond, you might as well just go do something else. Today on Cop Stories, I'm going to talk about my first homicide investigation that was assigned to me. Whew, I remember it as if it was yesterday. It was April of 1991. I had already been downtown. I arrived in 1989. I was a first round draft pick of the homicide unit. Okay? Like NFL, NBA draft. I was drafted like in the top 10 lottery pick. But I get downtown and I get traded. So it's like I went from being drafted by the LA Rams or, top NBA team, the Bucks or whoever. And I get traded to one of the lowest teams in the league. I don't want to say the Washington Commodores or Commanders, excuse me. Okay, let me get back on point. But what happened was they traded me from burglary to homicide for Mike Beller, who went to homicide from burglary. I was sad. I wanted to cry. I think I said in the previous video. But long story short, my sergeant at the time, Walt Staples, probably one of the best on the job during that era, he said, "Are you ready?" I'm like, "Ready for what?" I just arrived in the office, and he's giving me my first homicide assignment. Of course, no doubt, I was a little nervous, not really knowing, what to do at that particular time. But as he mentioned, Mitch, you've been investigating homicides with us in the office for over the past year while you was in burglary and arson. You can handle this. So I said, "Okay, Sarge, let's do this." And what happened was, I responded to a case over in Berry Farms, Southeast. Those who are not familiar with Berry Farms over in Southeast Washington, D.C., one of the meanest, roughest, toughest, grittiest, dangerous neighborhoods in D.C. It's been like that for years. Now, this is 1991. We're talking about when D.C. was the murder capital of the world. So you just can imagine how many different cases we, responded to in that community. Also, community where you're really not going to find witnesses. Okay, it's not like people volunteer and be like, okay, I saw this, I saw that. I know it's going to be pretty tough. Responded over there, body laying up in an apartment. Of course, we got shell cases and everything, and that's all we had. But I at least knew that there was no forced entry into the apartment. Therefore, whoever committed this murder more than likely was someone that this victim knew. Contact the family, next of kin, give them the information. They didn't have any information to provide for us. So now all I have is a body and shell casings. Do canvassing outside, trying to talk to people in the community. Those of you who do not know, you can have people standing right there staring at you right in your eyes, and they didn't see a thing. They don't know anything. The amnesia done set in. The blindness done got in. The I forgot done got in. I never saw anything. Mind your business. Get away. Leave us alone. Go to hell. All of that kicks in right away in Berry Farms. So, it doesn't discourage me. I said, well, at least this give me an opportunity to take my time and work on a homicide case. So I get down to the office, and then I get a phone call that a weapon was recovered in the area. So more than likely, if this is the weapon, the shooter must have threw the weapon away, which I was surprised because, Barry Farms, who gonna throw away guns? You keep it. But the caliber of the weapon match the shell casings that are inside the apartment. Wasn't tested yet, but just the same caliber of each, okay? I believe it was 9mm, I can't really recall. But I have a little something to go on at that particular moment, still nothing. While I'm in the office doing the paperwork, I received a call from one of the officers who got information that this person was seen running from the building right after the gunshots. And I'm like, okay. Of course, I asked the officer who gave you this information. The officer said a confidential source. Once the officer said a confidential source, I knew it was off limit. Just like with me, people who've gave me information over the years who were in a confidential state, I would take that to my grave, okay? So therefore, I can respect the officer for not giving me that information. As of today, he never gave me that information, which that's the game. But the officer and some other people brought this young guy to the office. Now, he's under 18 years old. Can't recall if he was 16 or 17. But I knew it was a young person. Here it is. I'm not much older. I'm in my mid-20s. But I had to deal with this, and I didn't have any eyewitnesses or anything. All I had was that gun. Not even knowing at the time if it was the gun. But I had it close by in the community. Hopefully that can help, but we'll see. So now I'm going to go into what happened during the interrogation of this young person. Now, here it is, my first homicide investigation. I have a suspect. No witnesses, so it's very challenging. This suspect can just say to me, I don't know anything. I don't want to talk. I want a lawyer. Leave me alone. Get away. Let me go. But I learned from watching some of the veterans in the office. I used to always watch interrogations by Dwayne Stanton, Herman Johnson, some of the other guys in the office, and I knew I had to do this. I had to go in there. I didn't have any help because all other people in my squad were out dealing with other cases. We was working a midnight shift, so we're very thin. Sergeant Staples, he was nearby, but one thing I like about Sergeant Staples, it was like, this is your case, you go deal with it. So he had a lot of trust in me, so I went in there and introduced myself to the young guy and everything. He wasn't nervous, sitting there, confident, cocky, chilling, relaxed. And I'm sitting there like, shit, this motherfucker, he's not going to tell me anything, okay? So, of course, I, start talking to him, let him know who I am. I'm quite sure he probably could smell the brand newness on me, so I had to go in there faking like I've been there for a long time. I'm probably looking younger than he was, but here it is, I'm trying to act like I've been there forever. But, I read his rights to him, make sure he understood his rights, and he agreed to talk to me. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the first step. If they agree to talk to you, man, you can sort of play with it a little bit. And this is before First 48 came out and all this stuff you all see on TV today. This is real stuff, So what happened is now I have to have it within my mind. I have to be ready. I have to be like focused and set on how I'm going to get this person to confess to a murder where I have no witnesses. I don't even know if this is the shooter. I have no idea. He could have just been running from the building. If he told me that and stuck with that, that's something I would have to live with. But, I'm talking to him about the murder. First, he started talking about he was in the lobby, heard the gunshot, he ran off. I knew that was expected. No. So I asked him, I said, well, where were you in the building? He said, I was right there by the door in the lobby of the building. Right as soon as you walk inside the door, I was standing right there. I heard the gunshots coming from the apartment upstairs somewhere. Shoom, I took off running. I said, so as soon as you heard the gunshots, you took off running? He said, yeah. So we talking like a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4, 5? He said, nah, as soon as I heard the gunshots, I was gone. I said, okay. I said, well, I have a problem with that because now I'm using common sense. Now I knew where the apartment was. I knew the apartment was upstairs. Okay? So now, if the gunshots are being heard in the apartment and someone in the lobby or by the door takes off running right away, it's common sense. But gunshots goes off in the apartment upstairs. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006. Less than 10 seconds, more than 5, but less than 10, he's seen running out the building, okay? So now, I knew he wasn't in the lobby. I knew he wasn't inside the door. So now I'm like, okay, he wants to play. Okay, no problem. So I asked him, are you sure you were inside that door when you heard the gunshots? He said, yeah, no problem. So now I confront him about the fact that you came out that building anywhere between 7 to 10 seconds after the gunshots were heard. And I did it for him. I said 1001, 1002, 1003, all the way to 7. And I went through him, shooter, boom, boom. Get yourself together. You gathering this, you got your gun, you put it in, you tuck it out, you run down the steps, boom, you out the door. We talking in between 5 to 7 seconds, man. You did not just run out. Oh, well, what I do? So now he's switching the story up. So I'm like, okay. Now youngin', he wants to play. Okay, I have no problem with that. So now he switches the story up. Said that when he heard the gunshots, he went to go see what was going on. And then when he realized someone was shot into an apartment, he takes off running. Okay, now, who in America goes towards the gunshots? We were taught to run away from the gunshots. So I'm talking to him about that. I said, well, if you ran towards the apartment, who did you see? I didn't see anyone. Exactly. He said, what do you mean? You didn't see anyone because you were the only one that came out that apartment where the murder occurred. No one else came out. People don't open their doors in that building when there's gunshots. And he like, no, nothing. I said, matter of fact, I said, you know what? Because I'd already gave him a cup of water, which, I'm just thinking, what the hell? Might well take a chance. Since I know he done messed up exactly where he was, now I can play with him more. So what I did was, I said, you know what? I'll be right back. I took the cup that I gave him. I took it out. I let him sit there. He's not cool. He's not calm, collected. I'm watching in the monitor. And that's one thing you want to do. You want to check out people's demeanor. Yeah, some guys just sit there like this. They ain't tripping. They don't even care. But this youngin' was now nervous. He's like, oh my God. I could just tell his whole demeanor has changed. So all I'm doing is watching him on the monitor. So I wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Now he's yelling out, hey, detective, hey, detective. So now it's a lot going on in this mind. So I came to the door, opened the door. I said, hold on for a minute. They almost finished with the lab testing. He was like, huh? What do you mean? I said, just wait. I'll be right back. We'll discuss in a few minutes. Lying. Back in the day, technology slow as hell. But he didn't know that. So what happened was I came back into the room, and this is what happened. So I come back into the room with a folder, just faking. So I got the folder and everything. I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay, so now let's discuss what really happened. He like, what do you mean? I told you what happened. I said, I hear you. I said, but after the murder, I said, you were around there when the police were looking for stuff. And I said, and I know you probably more than likely saw the police when they found the weapon. Okay, he like, huh? I said, yeah, the weapon, the weapon. He didn't say anything. Now, when I said that, he didn't say anything. So I'm like, okay, so he's not saying, what are you talking about? That wasn't my, none of that. So now I got the weapon, and I'm like, yeah, man. The test, came back. I said, your fingerprints is on the joint. I said, do I need to tell you where? He didn't say nothing. I said, we got the shell cases inside. I said, you know how you put shell cases in a... And I'm taking a chance because I don't know who put the bullets inside the magazine. I have no idea. But I'm just going for it. He can dispute it. He can challenge me. Or he can tell me to go to hell, but I just took a gamble. I said, you know, when you put them shell cases inside the magazines, man, that thumbprint, zoop, 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 they're easy to get. Did you know that? He like, man, all this hun. I said, look, man, you're done, okay? You're done. I mean, you're done. What are you going to do? I said, now, if something went wrong in that apartment, now, this is when you give them what's called, should I be telling y'all this? Well, what the hell? I don't work homicide no more. This is when you give them out. I said, look, man, I wasn't in that apartment. I don't know what happened. I don't know if you acted this way because of this reason, you done because of that reason. I have no idea. I can sit here and assume, I can make up stuff. I said, but that's not how I rock and roll. If something occurred that shouldn't have occurred, but it occurred, we need to discuss that. I said, because it's a big difference when you're talking about murder 1, zoom. Murder 2, zoom. Manslaughter, doom. Okay, so there's different levels to it. So he's sitting there and he said, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, okay, no problem. I said, I just thought I would bring it up there to you. I don't know how your prints got in that gun. So then he said, well, maybe I had that gun in the neighborhood before. Everybody in the neighborhood touched the guns and all that. So now I'm like, okay. So now he's getting a little closer, okay? So I'm like, look, man, I've been doing this for a long time, lying. If it was a veteran, an older guy in the neighborhood, he probably could smell the newness off my shirt, okay? So I'm like, look, man, I've been doing this for a long time, man. Don't let my looks fool you. I'm just, trying to give benefit of doubt. I know this is a rough neighborhood. Things occur. And, so he then said, man, it was an accident. I said, now, he's saying it's an accident, but I know where the gunshot wounds were inflicted. Okay? It's really hard to shoot somebody in the back and it goes through, hit the heart. Accident. Normally accidents occur. There's a struggle. Normally something in front, but I let him go with this an accident. So he started telling me how, they got into an argument. And, he pulled a gun out to defend himself, and he didn't realize his hand was on the trigger, gun goes off, all this and all that. So now he's admitting that he's there, admitting that he's involved, admitting that he did it. So now I have to get him off that story because I know it's not true based on the forensics on the scene, the evidence, gunshots, the victim, everything. So I'm like, look, man, I understand, what you're trying to do. I understand that you did it for whatever reasons. I was not there. I said, but just based on where the victim was shot, it's really hard to say it was an accident, Then he's quiet, sat there for a minute, and he was like, man, fuck it, man. Yeah, I shot that motherfucker. Excuse my language. And I'm sitting like, whoa, okay. And he goes to talk about how the victim owed him some money. He was pissed off, and things went south. Things went south, and he told me, no, you're not gonna let somebody just carry you like that. Somebody owe you some money, you gonna straighten it. That was just the error. That's how it was back then. Still not justified to kill someone, but according to him, based on his environment, based on how he was raised, his beliefs, that's what he thought, okay? I ain't making excuses for anybody. I'm just trying to tell you. Each is to their own as far as their environments, but either way is a homicide, okay? And, like I've always mentioned before, we work for the family, the victims, not the suspects. So what happens is he ended up, finally telling the truth, got a confession, so my first homicide case was closed, and it was one I really didn't think was going to close because we didn't have anything. It was in Berry Farms. And it was, for me, an eye-opener because not only did it give me an opportunity to an interrogation on my case where I was the lead, opposed to helping other detectives as I was doing when I was in burglary and arson. it was just, a start for me, as a homicide detective that ended up being, pretty successful. And I just want to say that when it comes to doing investigations, you can't take this stuff personal. Of course, I was always taught in a legit way that you're allowed to lie in order to get to the truth. I've testified in many cases in court. Yeah, I lied. I'm not going to lie on the stand. Yes, I lied. I lied to get to the truth. Yes, I told him this. Yes, I told him that. I'm allowed to lie to suspects. Okay, and some people don't think it's right, but I mean, come on, man. That's if you didn't do it, you didn't do it. If you did it, you did it. Okay, I wasn't there. I didn't put you in prison. You did it. You committed the crime for whatever reasons it was. Okay, and it was just one of those situations that, as a young homicide detective, I had to prepare myself moving forward that I was going to be facing a great deal of young people in the city, because at that time I was knowing just as many suspects as I was knowing victims here in Washington, D.C. So I was there to do a job, and I did my job. Okay, I did it as best as I could, and hey, it was a career that I can look back on, and I have no regrets. There's some regrets that I do have in reference to a lot of things in reference to the system. I always want the system to get better, but there are some situations where I had to take handcuffs off people that some other people put on people because the shit was wrong. Okay, fair is fair. That's why I always say, man, I do my job fairly. I'm not going to continue. I don't do it anymore, but real talk. But I just appreciate you all for just joining me here in another episode of Cop Stories. I'm going to continue to rock and roll. I just enjoy talking to you all, communicating on the DMs, the text messages, the emails. And I thank you. And hey, I'm going to keep doing my thing. One day the network going to be like, all right, Mitch Credle, we got something for you. Not just the episodes we put you in, but we're going to bring a show to DC. We want you involved. That's my goal. Peace.